WFSB Plus original. This is the Capitol Rundown.
Welcome to the Capitol Rundown. This is where we bring you local politics and politics from across the nation from both sides of the aisle that matter to you. I'm Kara Sundlin, and from both sides, we've got former Republican House Leader Themis Klarides and Democratic strategist Jimmy Tickey to talk about the issues that are making the headlines right now. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, so the government shutdown, let's start there. We already were reporting that this is affecting local folks, is even just food share, which I know you're on the board of food share. They're going into emergency funds because some of these federal workers need food. How is this going to affect us locally here in Connecticut? Themis?
Well, already Governor Lamont has said that we will be using some of our reserves to help backstop some of the programs that are being hurt. I mean, when you look at WIC, which is Women, Infant, and Children, that's a low-income nutrition program that the federal government funds, and we're backing that with funding. LIHEAP, which is low-income heating assistance program in Connecticut. I mean, we haven't really needed any heat yet, but I think that's coming this weekend. So we're doing as much as we can and then with Medicaid and that kind of thing. But you mentioned Connecticut Food Share, which is the food bank for the entire state of Connecticut, and we partner with 600 food pantries and food banks all over the state. And Monday we had to have an emergency board meeting to authorize using $1 million in our reserve funds to help people. I mean, 1 in 7 people in Connecticut are food insecure.
Wow,
like the wealthiest state in the country. I mean, think about that. When you go to these food banks, you know, and I work at them a lot, as much as I can, and you know, you have an image of who you think you're going to see there, and it's not that image. I mean, there's people from all walks of life. I mean, even last year in the Valley, in Seymour and Oxford during the flood, I mean, there were people, they came in, Food Share came in, and 3 Fridays in a row, they gave away food. And I saw people I knew, you know, people that just, something happened. There was an emergency that happened like that, and they need assistance. Somebody, you know, single parents, like, they need assistance. And so things like that, I mean, I understand how the shutdown is happening because I was in the legislature, and as leader, we went through 4 months where we didn't have a budget, and I get everybody digs their heels in and feel strongly about their side. I get how it happens, but I also get that you have to find a way to fix it.
Yeah, because people are really hurting.
Right.
Jimmy, what's your take, and do you see a way out?
So at the heart of this shutdown has been the extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which really help subsidize the premiums that people pay. You know, usually what happens is the federal government passes a budget 1 year at a time, and so we're planful for the year ahead, and the budget gets passed year to year. That has not happened in a while, and so what people will hear is this CR. It means continuing resolution. So Congress continues to maybe fund the government 3 or 6 months at a time. It's really no way to do a budget, but it is how we have been operating in the last several years. And so that's why we were talking in the springtime about the budget, knowing it would now come back again in September. What's interesting about this timing is that it dovetailed with the Affordable Care Act extensions, which naturally would have expired. And so these are the tax credits on the premiums that people benefit from. And without those tax credits being extended, you would see premiums more than double. Even here in Connecticut, the Affordable Care Act in Connecticut, Access Health CT, came out and said that it saves over $400 million a year for Connecticut taxpayers that are involved in the exchanges. And so what Democrats in Congress have said is we want to just extend those Affordable Care Act tax credits so that we can keep those premiums for health care low. And so we are now in week 2 of the shutdown, and can we get out of it? Yes, I think government shutting down is not a good thing. There are programs that government does play a role in. As Themis said, our friends, our neighbors, people that rely on food, or women's, infants, and children's programs that the state is now trying to backfill. There are programs that the federal departments do fund that benefit state and localities, and we do need those programs to be operational. So my hope is that there can be some negotiating, but what's important is that with those Affordable Care Act tax credits, those letters get sent October 20th. Bills are due in December. So they need to come to an agreement, and hopefully Republicans in Congress will make some extension of those Affordable Care Act tax credits to keep premiums down for people.
We know that October 15th, they're going to, you know, some of the armed services are going to have to report to duty, but they're not going to get a paycheck. Does President Trump get involved and intervene? Right now it's a he said, she said, oh, that's all the Democrats' fault. Oh, it's all the Republicans' fault. That doesn't seem like we're making any progress.
Well, I mean, there are Republicans that are on that side. I mean, interestingly enough, Marjorie Taylor Greene feels that we should make sure we extend those subsidies now. But it's a bigger political picture. I mean, listen, the way you represented it, I agree. You know, you have these people are getting subsidies, and this issue started during COVID. That's when this was instituted, because during COVID, people were getting sick and there were a lot of issues going on. So they wanted to make sure they incentivized people to get into their marketplace. You know, in Connecticut, it's Access Health Connecticut. And that opens up on November 1st, and you can go and choose what you want to be, what plan you want to be on. And if they don't extend these subsidies to help people pay their premium, so it's a premium subsidy, you know, tax credit to help you pay their premium.
Then people just won't have health insurance?
Right, and so the Republicans are arguing, listen, let's just end this shutdown, and then we can negotiate this whole thing, and we'll get it fixed beforehand. To Jimmy's point, the other side is arguing, well, the marketplace opens November 1st, and people have to figure out their budgeting and how they're going to do this. And insurance companies are already sending out letters saying your premium is going to increase by double. And so how can you afford to do that? There's about 150,000 people in Connecticut on that, on those plans, and most of them will be affected. But I think, unfortunately, you know, politics gets involved in everything, and it's not just, do we think people deserve to be subsidized who can't afford health care? I think most people will answer, of course we do. Of course that's government's job to help people that need the help. The real argument, I think, is during President Biden's term, there was an amnesty programs that allowed illegal immigrants to come over the border and be in the United States. And now a lot of the Republicans are saying, well, some of these people are getting this health care and they shouldn't be getting this health care. So this is not, and I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm saying there's a lot of layers of this politically that is not just about should we be helping people with health care.
Jimmy?
Well, just keep in mind, the federal law is that you need to be a United States citizen to be on these exchanges and to get health care, to be here lawfully. And to your point, it's true. By October 15th, you're now going to be talking about people missing paychecks. You have already talked about people who are getting furloughed. And this really calls into question our safety, our security, airports, TSA people. Are people going to be coming into work knowing they may not get paid? And President Trump has come out and said, well, maybe we won't even pay people back pay, which is, sounds like a threat. And so who would go into work if you think, you know what, if I'm working without pay, and then whenever government does reopen, I won't get any sort of pay. So I think that the president, who does control the White House, the House, and the Senate, may reconsider some positions that we can get back to open government. And all the Democrats are asking for is the continuation of those tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. Because there's a lot that we will disagree with as that budget is passed. But on the whole, it is a good idea to reopen government, to get people their paychecks, to keep things humming again. But you do not want to see health insurance premiums more than double if those tax credits expire.
And the interesting thing is, under President Trump 1, he signed the law that guaranteed federal workers get back pay.
Right, and now he's threatening against it. And the other thing under Trump 1 was that we did have a shutdown. The last shutdown was under Trump's first term, and it lasted 35 days. So if anyone is trying to break a personal record, that doesn't spell much confidence if we go beyond 35 days. I mean, that really would be extremely detrimental to states and localities.
What the Democrats need to do is take the Republicans' word, and hopefully their word is good, and say, let's reopen the government, and we will negotiate this hopefully in the next couple of weeks before November 1st hits. And, you know, but that's hard in politics, to take people's word for it.
Right. Well, we can negotiate now and have them agree to it now and then fund government. So it is clearly a difference.
All right. Bottom line, when does it open again?
I say next week.
I don't think it will be next week, but my hope is that it's by month's end.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to move on. The Supreme Court is entering a new session, and there's a challenge that is making a lot of news. It's a challenge to a ban on conversion therapy. And my understanding, we have this law that in Connecticut, and the idea that it's wrong to do conversion therapy for young children or young teens who think that they're homosexual, to then go to a therapist who says, we're going to make you not gay. So let me start with you, Themis, because you said you actually worked on the bill that exists here in Connecticut. What exists for us right now?
Well, it's banned. It is banned. Therapists are not allowed legally to practice conversion therapy, which is exactly what you said. Obviously minors, because you can't force somebody that's 18 or over to go to see any therapist. When a parent or guardian decides, their child says that they're gay and they don't think that that's okay, and they'll take them to the therapist to try and turn them not gay, in plain words. About 21 states have this. Colorado is one of them. They have appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States. They took that appeal and they heard the case. They're hearing the case now. I mean, that decision won't come down for a while. But everybody that has seen what the Supreme Court has been saying is leaning towards saying that the laws of the states that ban conversion therapy is a violation of free speech. All right, they haven't decided that yet, but that's where they're going. Now, just to break this down as simply as I can, people are saying if you're a therapist and you say you want to practice conversion therapy, that is your right to say that. That is a free speech right. Nobody's forcing anybody to go there, but the problem is parents are forcing minors to go if they believe that their child being gay is not okay. The problem is Connecticut, in addition to every other state, has a long-standing history of being able to regulate standard of care for health. They're saying health and safety is paramount, and that kind of overtakes the free speech argument, saying there is no medical evidence that conversion therapy works. None at all. Every medical society and organization basically has said it not only is it ineffective, but it's actually detrimental. It could cause further depression. It could cause suicide ideation, all sorts of things. And there's actually a parent in Colorado who was explaining that she took her child for conversion therapy. He ended up committing suicide. And so because there's no medical evidence, and we have an obligation as a state to protect people with the standard of care that's provided, that is what allowed our state and other states to pass these laws. So that's the
ban
that's the
on
fight.
it.
Yes.
So, but yet you're saying that the Supreme Court is leaning towards perhaps
that's
lifting
all the
ability.
reports. None of us are in there, and they're not going to put the decision out anytime soon, I don't think. But that's where they're leading from the reports.
Okay, so Jimmy, let's talk about this. You're a gay man. So let's bring that into the conversation. You actually have, I would think, even a stronger perspective to understand this. What do you think of this move, whatever's going to happen to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court in general, of some saying that it's become the arm of the president?
Right. Well, unfortunately, he has had so many appointments to the Supreme Court. But states have been right to ban conversion therapy. Conversion therapy is ineffective. It does not work. It is not based in any sort of medical practice, which is why so many states have moved towards banning it. You've heard from young people that were forced to participate in this, and even from parents who have said this really did not work. It's ineffective, but worse than that, it's really inhumane. It's not healthy to send a young person to force them into these conversations because it makes them feel, as a young gay person, that something needs to be fixed. And when suicide rates are already the highest among young LGBT youth, or even the thoughts of serious suicide are at 39% among LGBTQ people, the concentration among those who do commit suicide is of the LGBTQ community. And so this only makes that worse by making young people feel that something needs to be fixed, and so therefore they are broken. And so conversion therapy is not in any way based in the safety of a patient. If anything, it makes it worse. It makes it more dangerous for them and their families. And so we will see what the Supreme Court does. Connecticut, like many states, have banned it, which is the appropriate thing to do. There's nothing about a young gay person that needs to be fixed.
Right, and we did that a few years ago. I mean, when I was still leader, and there were people that didn't agree with it, of course, that think it should be allowed. Now, the argument in Connecticut was we don't really think that really happens very, very often here, but there are states where it happens more.
Well,
and the child and the minor has no control.
That parents wanting to be able to do what they want. But the law protects, because if the parents are trying to send them to something that no medical society says works.
Right. And it's a minor. Right. It's a minor that's being forced into these conversations.
So if the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court says these bans are not allowed, what will happen to Connecticut?
Well, they're overturned, because if the Supreme Court decides on constitutionality. So somebody brought the case and said that it happened to be Colorado, the state of Colorado, that the lower court said that it was constitutional, and we believe it's not, so we would like the Supreme Court, to hear it. And the Supreme Court decided to hear it. And if they decide it's unconstitutional, that would mean every state that has it would have an unconstitutional law and would have to.
Yeah. Would they create a new law to govern the safety of kids?
Oftentimes when things like that have happened, there's been conversations as could something be codified in the state constitution. I mean, some of those are tall orders. If the federal government comes through with a Supreme Court decision, it really could be kind of definitive. But, if a young person comes out to a parent, it can be solved at a kitchen table conversation. And the idea that someone will consider conversion therapy is extremely detrimental to their own son, daughter, their child, and it would cause greater harm.
Okay, so let's move on to a different topic, and that is the corruption trial for Costa Diamantis, who is a former Lamont staffer who was in charge of these school contracts. He's accused of steering the school contracts, that if you don't use my people and I get money, and these texts that say the money was referred to as pints and birthday cards. So it's been a little bit since we've had a big corruption trial to cover, Themis.
I know, I think we're due. He was actually under Governor Malloy, and then Governor Lamont kind of inherited him.
Right.
He was a state representative for many years. I served with him. He's facing 22 federal felony charges for bribery, kickbacks. We started the trial on Monday, and we're hearing the testimony every day. People coming in from the masonry company and the other contractors of what he said, and reading the text messages. And he faces 20 years in prison. They're estimating this is going to last around 2 weeks. So we're just in the beginning of the trial. We're going to have more. We'll have more next week, because we'll have a lot more testimony. I mean, it's not good. We haven't had a good corruption trial in Connecticut in a while, which makes us all happy. And this is just unfortunate, because the problem in politics is there's not a lot of public trust anymore in politicians and our government. And when something like this happens, it just erodes it further for like the good people that run for right reasons and really care about their communities and their states.
Right. Any fallout for the Lamont administration, as Governor Lamont is expected to run again?
Well, they've been trying to. It's typical, right? When you say you're a governor or you're a mayor or whatever, and somebody works for you and they do something wrong, then they blame you. Now that's, if they can prove that he knew something about it, which they haven't been able to so far, and I don't even think they're going down that road, because it seems very clear that Governor Lamont didn't know anything about it. Unfortunately, you have people that do bad things, and that's no control of yours.
Jimmy, what do you think as far as how this plays out, other than for Costa Diamantis?
Right. Yeah, no, we're in day 3 of this trial. Obviously, the allegations are extremely serious. This is an individual who worked his way up through the ranks of politics, certainly predated this governor in office, and was in that position when the governor was first elected and then swore into office in January 2019. But obviously, once these allegations came to light, he was fired and removed from his position. But they're very serious allegations. And I agree. We want people to be getting involved in government. We want people to be getting involved, to think about running for office, to think about serving. And so these corruption trials and charges and allegations really don't inspire much confidence for people to think, if I get involved, I can do some good. We really need more authentic, good people to run, to be involved, to serve in government, and don't let efforts like this, spoil that. We really should have good people in government that are doing the work on behalf of people. And the allegations so far released around this are extremely serious.
Yeah. You're going to think we're going to have some zingers to watch over the next few weeks?
I would be surprised if we did not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we'll be covering it for everyone every day on the news. And I want to just take a moment as we end Capitol Rundown to say congratulations to Jimmy because you had beautiful wedding pictures. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Shout out your husband. And
yes.
I saw Rosa DeLaura was the officiant.
Yes, she was. Sam and I both worked for Rosa at one point.
Okay,
and
that's
yes,
why.
And it was a New Haven wedding, which was beautiful, beautiful weather, wonderful attendees of our family and friends, and my dog Riley. And Rosa officiated, and it was a wonderful, wonderful wedding. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And you, lady, have
say,
been inducted into the Connecticut Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And
so
got honored last night and
yes.
is now an official inductee.
So we have a little something for you.
Oh.
Nobody go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Stay
we have
with us because
I'm really excited because
we have a little something, and congratulations to you, Kara.
Thank you. I'm afraid to get
Hall
up
of
because I'm
Famer.
wired. Okay, Mom, thank you.
Put them down.
No, okay, yeah, there we go.
Put them here.
Thank you. That's so beautiful, and I want to say it was wonderful, and I think this show and journalism, and that's what I said in my speech last night. And thank you both for coming and supporting me. Journalism matters, and when we have a distrust in government, we are the fourth estate. So I really need that people here also understand that your local news, we're trying to get you both sides. I think when we become better journalists, we do become a better democracy. So thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting local journalism. And that's why you got to watch the Capitol Rundown, because we give you politics that matters to you from both sides of the aisle, so you can make up your own mind.
And we show you that we can disagree without hating each other.
Yes, this is, they say, just like when we do our stories on modeling and parenting, when you model that you can disagree and still go to dinner together and support the fourth estate, That's where we need to get America to be, right? So thank you both, and
Exactly.
congratulations, Jimmy.
you.
And thank you. These
Thank
are so
you.
beautiful.
Yes.
I love all the colors. Thank you, Themis and Jimmy. I was saying Themis because she's all into colors, but again, thank you to both of you. And Riley, you got to look at Instagram. You should follow Themis and Jimmy. But Riley is the cutest dog, and he
had a tux.
He's in a
Of
tux.
course.
Yeah. All right. That is the Capitol Rundown for this week. You can always watch all of these issues, share them with your friends, talk about it at the dinner table so you can understand. It's on our WFSB YouTube channel and always streaming for free on WFSB Plus. Join me for Eyewitness News at 4 because we will also break down some of this conversation there for you to understand more. Thank you for being with us.